Hello, Tiger fans. Thanks for joining us for a new edition of Tiger Timeout here on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Matt Payton with you as we take a look around the landscape of Tiger and Lady Tiger basketball. We begin with the women's program. Campbellsville University in action this past week. Just once, they had Lindsey Wilson College Thursday in the PAL, joined by the head coach, Ginger High-Colvin. And, Coach, you get that rivalry matchup with the Blue Raiders. There's nothing like home rivalry contest. Thursday was an amazing atmosphere in the PAL Athletic Center.
When you have all the students show up and you have that Thursday night game, we haven't had that Lindsey Thursday game in a long time. It just is so much fun. And I know the community loves it. I know both of our communities love it. And it was a great outcome for us, and we were thrilled to get that one. And we were equally as thrilled to have a Saturday off. Yep. But, yeah, it was a great one for us Thursday.
Those off days are critical at this point in the season, and just an opportunity to maybe let the kids go home and rest and relax, recharge the battery, because as crazy it is to think about, you're coming up on February. You're going to be 8 games, or you've got a month left. Actually, I think 7 games for you guys left, maybe 8. But it's going to be a sprint to the finish line.
It is. It's hard to believe, and it's right here on you. And once it starts, like that snowball going down the hill, once it starts, you can't stop it. And we're right in the thick of it, so we're happy where we are.
Let's take a look at the numbers from the game against Lindsey Wilson College on Thursday. 78-54 the final score. Maddie Boyle led the way with 14 points. Kayla Luby had 13 and 3 off the bench, and Courtney Pritchett with one of those typical Courtney Pritchett lines, a lot of crooked numbers in there. Lauren Lee kind of the same. I think she had 8, 5, and 6 for Campbellsville. So, Coach, you got out of the blocks pretty quick against Lindsey Wilson. I think Courtney hit a 3 or 2. Maddie Boyle hit 3 first-half threes. You got that. You mentioned the snowball going downhill, and it's really where it kind of got on Lindsey Wilson. You were able to coast a bit down the stretch, and I think rest was critical for you.
And Lindsey's a young team, and they haven't gone against a different look, probably mostly man and zone. And when we come down and hit some shots early, like you said, it kind of got out of hand for that. And but when you make shots, things are easier. And we did make shots early, and that was the difference in the game. I still don't count Lindsey out. I think they've got a lot of talent. They've played very hard this year, won some big games, and it was a good win for us for sure.
And it's a Blue Raider team that, Coach Wethington had kind of had rolling a bit. They were early in the year maybe trying to figure a lot of new pieces and different things. They've got a terrific young wing or post, however you want to look at it, and Lucy Patterson. And you guys did a pretty good job on her. And they had some kids hit shots, but you kept them from getting into a consistent rhythm offensively.
Yeah, I felt like our defense was actually pretty good. We found their shooters, and Lindsey's very good downhill, really, really good at getting to the rim, and that was our focus. If we gave up a 3, I was going to be happier than if we gave up a really good drive downhill, and I thought our kids did a decent job with that.
And you were able to kind of spread it out in terms of scoring. Maddie Boyle led with 14, but nobody really dominated. I think you had 4 Lady Tigers in double figures. Just able to kind of get a little bit everywhere, and then we see flashes of the Sarah Suttons and the Whitney Hayes, who you're going to need down the stretch when you get the postseason to get those kids playing at a level with the confidence.
Sure, and like we talk about that all the time, where that second group, or we call them that second group that comes in, they're extremely talented. We need that. We need the rebounding from them. We need the defense from them, and then the scoring comes pretty naturally for them. Sarah's probably one of the most natural scorers I've ever coached. Whitney Hay, a very good scorer. Saw an article this week on a kid at Murray State, actually Katie Chandler's high school teammate, and she'd come in, didn't have a great start. Her coach had talked about how she had the brakes on. I feel that's kind of Whitney Hay right now. I feel like she's had her brakes on, and once she quits pumping the brakes and just lets it go, I feel like she's just going to continue to get better for us.
And you've reached a point in the season where you've got that off day on Saturday, and so we've got a little more time without multiple games to break down. But let's talk about kind of where we're at in terms of getting ready for postseason stuff. It's kind of hard to think about, but you're certainly in that on some national committees, and you start to look ahead and things. The jockeying or positioning, as you might call it, is already happening.
Sure.
Arcs are being put together, and you're looking at things from different areas and regions. And you mentioned Lindsey Wilson going to be right there. You see some stuff. They're probably one of those teams that are making a push for the national tournament. It's going to be a wild finish.
Oh, it is. And like with our rating process in the NAIA women's basketball, we've gone more to the analytics side of it. A lot more numbers and a lot less eye test. The coaches poll is really not that important anymore. And so when you look at the numbers, Lindsey Wilson's numbers, RPI, strength of schedule, are as good as a lot. They're very good numbers. And Just like Campbellsville, we're third in the nation in the coaches poll, and we're third in our arc, behind Marion and Indiana Wesleyan. So it's a really tough arc, and with NAIA, we're not NCAA. We can't hop on a plane and travel to California, and you can't ask a California plane to travel to Florida. So it's we have to maneuver and switch things around for travel for these universities and their cost. And yeah, it's a big difference in how we travel and how we do things, and you worry about that a little bit. I think our arc's the strongest, so you've almost got to think you got to get out of a strong arc just to get to the tournament.
It's definitely a jigsaw puzzle that you guys are trying to piece together, and the difference with this one is the pieces might move. When you think you've got it slid into a spot where it fits, then something will change, and not so much. But we'll step away here. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll look at the matchup coming up this week. They've got Georgetown on the road Thursday evening, a 5:30 tip there in the Davis Reed Alumni Gymnasium. Also, Cumberland University comes to the Powell Center on Saturday, so stay with us here on Tiger Timeout.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. I love you. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
Tiger Timeout continues here on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Matt Payton with you as we take a look at the week ahead for Campbellsville's Lady Tigers on the road this week, Thursday evening, as they'll take on Georgetown College in Georgetown, Kentucky. And Coach, anytime the Tigers and Tigers get together, that's a fun one. The rivalry is kind of rejuvenated a bit, a little shot in the arm with Jeff Nickel taking over. He's started to put his fingerprints on that program. He has them inside the top, 25, up inside the top 10. I know they dropped one last week, so we'll see how that shakes out, but it's a really good Georgetown club.
It is, and definitely I think they'll stay top 12. I'm thinking top 10 still, just if people look at their body of work. Don't know, but yes, a very good team. He's brought kids in that can really play and play his style, so it's always a challenge.
Hard to hold a team going to Henderson, Tennessee and losing to a ranked Freed-Hardeman team against them too much. They tripped up there against Freed. I think it may have dropped one to Cumberland since the last poll came out, so two ranked opponents on the road, tough places to play, hard to get wins, but you look at A.J. Stevenson and some of the pieces that he's got. They can shoot the basketball. Defensively, you know that they're going to get after you. These are the games that prepare you for later on.
They are. They're a national tournament team, and they're going to play a national tournament style, and they're just going to get after you defensively. They rebound phenomenally. They are just so good on the boards, and then they can really score the ball in different ways. They can score the ball outside, inside, love transition. And so we've got to be able to guard in a lot of different ways.
Let's take a look at the numbers that make up this matchup coming your way on Thursday. The start 5:30 in Georgetown, 18-1 for Campbellsville. Georgetown 18-3, and these are two of the highest scoring offenses in the country, both inside the top 5 in points per game. The Lady Tigers, one of the nation's best from the floor overall at 51%, and you can see two really good rebounding clubs. The free throw percentage almost identical, so we hope it doesn't work out get into a free throw shooting contest there, Coach. That could be a coin flip. But again, this Georgetown club, one that they brought in some new pieces. They've got a transfer ball handler or two that will give you a different look than what you've seen over the last few years with the departure of Jasmine Elston and some of those other pieces.
Same thing. He's just replaced. He's come in and he's just brought gritty kids in that can really score the ball, handle the ball, get downhill. Athletes that can do this, not just kids that can stand out there and shoot it. He's got kids that can make plays, and we've got to be able to keep them in front. We've got to do a really good job in transition defense. But, yeah, he's got a lot of great pieces. And 3 losses this year. One's to the number who will move up probably second in our coaches poll at Marion, at Freed, and at Cumberland. So not a bad loss for their resume at all.
Yeah, all 3 road losses to ranked teams. So Coach Nichols certainly hard to get at home. And looking ahead at the Lady Tigers schedule, we mentioned the Georgetown matchup. They get Cumberland University at the Powell Center on Saturday as they are into league play for most of the next few weeks. You can take a look, some home and road matchups for Campbellsville. University of the Cumberland's on the 8th, and back on the road, Lindsey Wilson College in the beginning of that long road trip to Western Tennessee as they'll take on Bethel University. Following that one would be Freed Hardeman. So, Coach, it gets no easier when you take a look at that schedule coming up. Georgetown ranked, Cumberland's ranked. On the back end, Freed Hardeman ranked, and then some tough road games with Lindsey Wilson College and Bethel. But you get Cumberland University here at the Powell on Saturday. That's a 1 o'clock start time. Life in the Mid-South Conference, as they say.
Yeah, that starts our second round on Saturday. So that's if we can get through the first round unscathed, hopefully. You'll start that it's almost just in increments now, and hopefully start that second round and get in a good position. But Lindsey Wilson Bethel was receiving votes this last poll. Lindsey has an opportunity to receive some votes this poll. So everybody in our league, with the exception of one team, has opportunity of receiving votes or has. And Cumberland Youth played a lot of teams really close. Took Providence to overtime, who just beat Carroll in the Frontier Conference 20. So it's a very equal league and a very, very competitive league.
Yeah, and when's the last time you guys are sitting in a really good spot? And I don't think anybody's kind of crazy enough to think that you're going to finish with a 2 or 3 game advantage in the league. It's going to be hard to do. But after 6 games or so for most teams, a 2-game advantage, that's almost unheard of. It
is. In the Mid-South, it's really unheard of. And, of course, we're a little bit smaller than we were in the past, so that 2 games is a little bit I can't say skewed, but we've played everybody. We haven't played everybody once. Once we get that Georgetown game in, if we have a 2-game lead after that, I'm going to be thrilled. But we've got to play each game, and you can't overlook anybody. You can't overlook Cumberland U coming in on Saturday.
Absolutely. The Lady Tigers got some good news this past week, a new commitment. Coach, we talked about it. We were getting one about every week. You took a few weeks off, and then Talon Shearer from Rockcastle County commits. She'll be a Lady Tiger next year. I know you guys were excited about that.
We are. We love Talon. We love what she brings to the table. She's a Lady Tiger type player. She can do a little bit of everything. She's probably a stretch 4, but I know Miranda went this last weekend and watched her play. Kobe had a game, and she's bringing the ball down the floor. She's posting up. She's doing all the things that most really good high school players do, and we're really excited about her. Great kid, great family, and she's a really good addition for us.
Okay, congratulations on that one, and best of luck this week.
All right, thanks, Matt.
The Lady Tigers in action Thursday. It is a 5:30 start in Georgetown. 5:15 coverage begins on 88.7 The Tiger, then back at home at the Powell Center on Saturday against Cumberland University. It's a 1 o'clock start time for the Lady Tigers. 12:45 coverage begins. We'll step away here, come back and visit with the head coach of Tiger basketball, Brent Vernon, here on Tiger Timeout.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome back. Tiger Timeout continues on the CU Sports Network. Matt Payton with you as we turn our attention over to guys action. The Tigers in the Powell Center this past weekend for a couple of games, a conference and then one non-conference game. Coach Brent Vernon joins me, and sort of a bittersweet week, Coach. You get the big one on Thursday against Lindsey Wilson. Let's start with that. That rivalry game, that environment, that is those are the games you just dream about playing in. Those are what make it fun. I talked to Ginger High-Colvin about it, and just the atmosphere, the students being there, the support from the community, all the things that go into it. Man, it was a terrific night of basketball.
It was, and that's what college basketball is about. Not only for the fans, but the student athletes. And you know, I give our student section and our fans just a whole lot of credit. The football team especially, and again, it's a little easier pointing them out just because of the numbers they have. I know softball was in and out with some practice. There was other sports there too, but man, our football team and our student section all the way around was just phenomenal. And I don't know if they totally understand how much of an impact and a difference they make, but they were a huge difference. And I thought our guys really came out and rose up to the occasion and got a really big conference win for us.
Yeah, I think 87-80 was at the final over the Blue Raiders. Jace Wallace had 25 in the game, Coach. A lot of guys really contributed heavily, but I thought Jace's play there for a bit. I mean, he did a really good job getting to the rim. We've grown accustomed to seeing these performances from Jace. A lot has been put on him the last few years. He's never blinked, and he just continues to do the things that a leader does for you guys.
He has. Really proud of him, and you know, he's put a lot of work and time into it to get what he's accomplishing individually. But you could tell him those things, and he doesn't care. He just wants team success, and that's what makes him really special. But you know, you look, he did get to the rim. He made some free throws. He got a lot of rebounds. I credit him. I think the other night he was either 3 or 4, 4 or 5 from 3, and you know, you look at him right now. He's shooting 31%, which isn't a great 3-point percentage, but I think he started out 0 of 18, 0 of 19. He's made, you know, somewhere around 11 of his last, or maybe 16, I'm sorry, of his last 36 or 37, really shooting the ball with a lot more confidence, and it just goes to show the time he's put in the gym. And whenever it gets late game, you know, we're looking to him not just to score, but to try to help us make a play or get somebody a shot, and he's been really good at that.
And he and Jay Milburn had a couple of big offensive rebounds in the waning moments of that game to help seal it. It's funny, you never know which play it might be, but those two are the two that I go back and look at that really stick out to, you know, still maybe a 2-possession game or so, 45 seconds left maybe, and they pull in a couple of big offensive rebounds.
Yeah, and it was back-to-back. I think it was maybe a 4 or 5-point game. Jace, I think, was the first one, made a free throw, missed a second. Jay gets one, gets fouled. He makes the first, misses the second. So now it turns into a 3-possession game. The clock's really in our favor now. It takes it out of the hands of Lindsey to where they have to make a decision to foul or whatever. And we were fortunate, you know, they missed a shot or two, and we secured the rebound, and then we put the game away at the line.
Then you turn your attention to a game with Montreat, non-conference matchup on Saturday. They were making the trip up from that Asheville, North Carolina area. And Benji and I kind of said this in the pregame. It was kind of a trap game to some degree. I didn't really think about it before I sat down that day, but you had Lindsey Wilson, the huge rivalry game at home, a lot of emotions and energy spending to get that one. And then Thursday you go on the road to that, you know, another rival in Georgetown, and here Montreat sneaks in at the perfect time. I think fatigue definitely was a factor there. It was an 81-77 final score. Montreat gets one on the road over the Tigers. As we take a look at some of the numbers, Jace Wallace, 19 points, 5 assists, 4 steals, continues to play so well. He's 8 points from 1,000 in his Tiger career. Kobe Penny with 15 points and 5 boards, 7 assists. Jay Milburn, another nice game for Campbellsville, 15 points, 4 rebounds, Coach. And we'll just go to the end. Obviously, it was a slow start for you guys offensively in the beginning, but the ball game really in overtime boiled down to a couple of whistles. And We want to be really careful here because I know right after the game you wanted your focus to be on Montreat.
Yes.
Played well enough to win that basketball game. But there were a couple of dicey ones. If either one goes a different way, it certainly can change the outcome of that ball game.
No doubt. And overtime game after a very emotionally physical game against Lindsey Wilson, you're right. It was a trap game, one that we weren't really supposed to play. It was a very late ad because we want to make sure we had a full schedule in for our guys. They deserve that. So it was. No, our guys, we struggled the first half. Thought we played really well in the second half in overtime. And in overtime, it was basically their point guard and Jace Wallace sort of going back and forth. And both teams continued to make shots. And, 2 untimely fouls called against us in the last 30 seconds. Fouls or no foul. The thing that I think is the hardest for us as a coach and a team is those games are supposed to be decided by the players. If it's an intentional foul, if it's a really hard foul, if it's a no-brainer, that's okay. But 50-50, Jay goes up and he makes a great block shot at the top, and they get a foul call with 2 seconds on the shot clock. So it was, I think, a 1 or 2 point game at that time. Instead, they get 2 free throws. And then we come right back down to take it back to a 1 point game, get a pass and a dunk, and it gets waved off for a charge. And like I said, it's just tough. You want the players to determine the plays, and neither team really got that opportunity at the end.
The Tigers will have to flush that one. They'll get back to it this week in a big way. They go on the road, top 25 matchup with Georgetown College, as Campbellsville will have to go up north and pick off a Mid-South Conference team that has really been the cream of the crop over the last decade or so in the league. We'll step away, take a break here, come back, and we'll look at the matchup upcoming with Georgetown as well as Cumberland University on Saturday. Stay with us here on Tiger Timeout.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
It took 20 years, and I got my 3rd child, who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Closeout segment of Tiger Timeout this week. Matt Payton with you here as we take a look at the upcoming contest for the Tigers, back in action in Mid-South Conference play on the road against Georgetown College on Thursday. And Coach Brent Vernon joins me. Always fun when the Tigers get together with the Tigers, and this one is a road matchup to start this portion. It'll be the closeout game of your first round through Mid-South Conference play, Coach. So you'd love to go up there and get a win. Lindsey Wilson got them in their first game, but they've been playing really well here the last couple weeks.
Yeah, they had a little trip up and started out 0-2, which is something you just
2014, 2015.
I was going to say, if it happened, I didn't know about it, and you just don't expect it. And then now they've rolled off 3 in a row. 2 of the 3 on the road at Freed. It's Georgetown. They're going to figure it out. They're going to get where it's at. But we're chasing them. We're only I think a half game back or a game back, whatever it is. It's a big game for us. It's a fun game. Thursday night at Georgetown, I expect a good crowd, and our guys are excited for it. We've done a nice job for the most part on Thursday night. We came up short against Cumberland's at Cumberland's, but it was a really, really good game that we were there the whole time, and we've had great preparation. We've had good film sessions, good practice. We're excited for the challenge, and for us, we've talked about it. We've played a good schedule. We've played some good teams. You look at the UT Southerns and the Freed Hardmans and Cumberlands, and now you're getting into Georgetowns, and we've been really close. Yeah. We just haven't been able to get that signature one yet, and it's time for us to fight through it, figure it out, and get one. And like I said, we're going to do everything we can tomorrow night.
Thursday would be a great time for Campbellsville to pick up that signature victory. And to do it, you'll have to figure out a way to slow down Kyron Jones. Not a lot of people have done that throughout his, well, it seems like 7 or 8 years. It's not been quite that long with COVID. It feels like that, but just a terrific ball player.
Yes.
A little undersized as a post, but you couldn't tell it by watching him play. He plays much bigger than the 6'5", 6'6" he's listed at. He's a rebounding machine as well.
He is, and just, you always, when you get done, you tip your hat to him, because a lot of teams have thrown a lot of things at him, and he figures it out and gets it done. Like I said, been there a long time with, after high school prep year, and then a redshirt year, and then a COVID year. So, we talk about it jokingly, but it's been really about 6 years, and nothing against Kyron. He's a fine young man, but we're going to be happy whenever we can play the Tigers and not see him on the other side.
It's the greatest compliment you can give to an opposing player, I think.
And I've told him that what seems now for 5 or 6 years. So, no, we've got some things that we're going to try. This is a sign of a good player. He is. He's getting older. You can watch him when he plays. His body's wearing down a little bit. College does that to you. He has some games where non-conference he'll get 9 and 4, and you're thinking, man, something wrong. And then all of a sudden you get to Fried-Harbin, he gets you 22 and 15, and you're like, no, nothing's wrong. It's just he's the type of player when the occasion rises, he does too. So we got our work cut out for us. He is a focal part of what we are making our game plan around to slow them down. And we think if we can slow him down, it gives us the best chance. So, again, we're really excited for this opportunity tomorrow night.
I think in the NBA they've coined a term for that, load management, maybe.
Absolutely.
Kyron just subscribing to that philosophy as well. And then Saturday you'll get back home in the PAL. So you're in a stretch of a lot of games at home. You've got a couple mixed in on the road here. But Cumberland U, they got you at their place, played a really, Doyle Cockrell just hit big shot after big shot for them down there. It was a sluggish game for you guys. I know you'd love to get that one back at home Saturday.
We would, and it's not really as much about the opponent right now on Saturdays as it is about Campbellsville. We've got to figure out, and we've talked about it with the number of injuries and everything. Saturdays it's proving they're really hard for us. You put so much effort in on Thursday nights, and you have a little bit of a depleted roster, and guys are having to double up with a lot of minutes. So we've got to figure out as a staff and as a group how we can manage our time between the end of Thursday night and Saturday better to have a little bit more energy. It has nothing to do with want to. Our guys are really, they're coming to work every day and putting forth the effort that we're asking. But we've got to figure out and get over that hump Saturday. So again, a big week Thursday and Saturday, and our goal is to come away with 2 of them.
Let's take a look at the schedule for the Tigers. This will throw, throw this graphic up, Coach, and you've got Georgetown, you've got Cumberland University. You get back at home for Cumberland, and then you hit the road for a stretch where you'll get to Lindsey Wilson College on the 10th, Bethel, Freed, and that long road trip. Crazy to think, though, you take the court tomorrow evening. It is February the 1st. And you're in that final month of the schedule. You're done by, I think, the 24th. So you've got, just a little over 3 weeks of the regular season left. It's really flown by.
It has, and it's been fun. This group has been really fun to work with. The chemistry, the togetherness, the willing to come in and not complain about some of the adversity we've hit. That's what I was worried on Monday going into practice, and we had a great day. Our guys they continue to show up, and that's a great sign. And again, they know it's coming to an end. They know it's getting closer, and the thing that they're doing is they're working harder, and that just shows how much they care. And like I said, we're going to put our best foot forward.
Tigers haven't won in Georgetown for a few years. You've got to go back to Tavion Mason and Richie Mitchell poured in over 60 points between the two of them. A couple years back, Campbellsville knocked off #1 Georgetown. They'll look to get another victory on Thursday night. Coach, best of luck.
Appreciate it, Matt.
Brent Vernon and the Tigers start at 7:30 Thursday in Georgetown. The Lady Tigers at 5:30. Coverage begins at 5:15. They're back at home on Saturday against Cumberland University. For the head coach, Brent Vernon, as well as the head coach of the Lady Tigers, Ginger High-Colvin, Matt Payton. We'll see you next time on Tiger Timeout.